80 years ago, surgeons believed they had uncovered a miraculous solution to insanity. Removing the brain's frontal lobe could instantly transform a madman into a normal person. This so-called breakthrough was widely viewed as a revolutionary medical advance, with scientists proudly making the claim that they would soon empty the psychiatric wards. By the 1940s, over 50,000 people worldwide had undergone lobotomies. Officially termed prefrontal leucotomy or prefrontal lobotomy, the procedure was even awarded the 1990 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. However, this miracle cure was tragically misused. In Japan, even disobedient children had been subjected to the surgery at the insistence of their parents. On the Nobel Prize website, one heartbroken mother shared, "My daughter is still here with me, but her soul is gone." Let's step back in time to explore this chilling chapter in history. In 1942, Frances Farmer, a stunning 29-year-old Hollywood actress, sat in a police station, glaring at officers with contempt. The night before, she had been arrested for recklessly speeding through a wartime blackout zone. Drunk and uncooperative, she even scuffled with the police. Just 2 weeks earlier, Farmer had punched a hairstylist for making snide remarks, dislocating his jaw. When the court convicted her, Farmer, in a fit of rage, hurled an ink bottle at the judge. Chaos erupted, and the once glamorous actress was dragged out of the courtroom. The next day, her disheveled photos ran across newspapers countrywide. Everyone thought Frances Farmer had lost her mind. She was diagnosed as mentally ill and sent to a psychiatric ward in Los Angeles. 15 years later, the world would learn that Frances Farmer was never insane. At the time, her controlling mother, driven by vanity, manipulated her and treated her as a personal cash cow. Farmer was also ostracized by Hollywood producers for openly rejecting their exploitative and objectifying roles. Her life had been a series of betrayals and hardships. Farmer later recounted her harrowing experiences inside the asylum. She endured horrific conditions, filthy, overcrowded wards housing over 2,700 patients in an environment of rampant mismanagement and abuse. Rats were a common sight, and Farmer was subjected to inhumane treatment, even becoming a victim of sexual exploitation by male doctors. The treatment methods for mental illness were equally barbaric: electric shocks and insulin injections. The insulin injections in particular were administered to induce vomiting, seizures, and comas, as doctors believed this would release the patient's so-called excess energy. Farmer recalled that even the strongest individuals were driven to madness in such an environment. In the end, when she felt she was truly on the brink of insanity, she agreed to undergo the ward's newly introduced procedure, a prefrontal lobotomy. Why? Because patients who underwent the surgery were eventually sent home. During a public demonstration, Farmer lay motionless on an operating table as a doctor inserted an ice pick through her eye socket into her brain. When she awoke, her porcelain skin and striking beauty remained. Her delicate face, thick lashes, and shapely lips were still there, but the sharpness in her gaze was gone, replaced by a dull, lifeless stare. The once fiery and rebellious soul that captivated audience had been cut away, leaving behind only a hollow shell. Like a plastic flower in place of a real one? How did such an inhumane procedure gain such widespread popularity? In April 2017, archaeologists in London unearthed nearly 3,000 human remains at a Crossrail construction site. These were the victims of centuries of abuse at Europe's oldest psychiatric institution, Bethlehem Royal Hospital, infamously known as Bedlam. For over 500 years, individuals with mental illnesses were treated with imprisonment, violence, and superstition. Without effective treatments, patients were often restrained and subjected to cruel practices. The emergence of psychology, pioneered by figures like Freud and Jung, offered hope, but effective cures remained elusive. By the 1940s, mental illness was still a scientific mystery, seen as a stain on modern medicine. So, in 1935, when the Portuguese neurologist Antonio Egas Moniz introduced the prefrontal lobotomy as a cure, many viewed it as a miracle treatment. At a medical conference in London, Moniz observed Yale scientists demonstrating a procedure that calmed aggressive chimpanzees by severing the connections in their frontal lobes. Inspired by the results, Moniz returned to Portugal and began experimenting on humans. His first subject was a severely ill psychiatric patient. Using alcohol injections to destroy the frontal lobe nerves, Moniz reported significant improvements. Encouraged by the results, he went on to perform 20 more surgeries, claiming consistent success with minimal side effects. His procedure quickly gained international attention. Doctors were astonished by its apparent simplicity and effectiveness. amazed at how they could turn violent patients into docile ones. By 1949, despite growing reports of severe side effects, lethargy, personality changes, and emotional numbness, lobotomy was still considered a necessary trade-off. Moniz was awarded the Nobel Prize, the highest honor in medicine. For the past 2 decades, calls to revoke Moniz's 1949 Nobel Prize have persisted, but the Nobel Committee has stood by its decision. The legacy of lobotomy remains a haunting reminder of the lengths humanity will go to in the name of scientific progress, sometimes at the cost of its very soul. All right, that's the end of today's story. See you next time.